Hello everybody, Average Gamer here, and welcome to a Kerbal Space Program 1.2 pre-release look. So this is going to be the video we do prior to me starting up a new video series for Kerbal Space Program. I said I was going to start this up, a new series up soon. Fortunately, I didn't get into the Kerbal Space Program stuff fast enough, unfortunately. I've been lagging with some other stuff and life and all that stuff, but who cares about that? Kerbal Space Program 1.2 pre-release. Let's talk about it. So, what's new? Well, first off, there's a new debug menu. Well, they updated it and changed it up a little bit. There's new options in the settings to set up set up comm networks and things like that, which we'll get into. There's parts overhauls, user overlay overhauls, reworked fuel systems, SAS, wheels are better, probe telemetry, new antennas, you name it. Quite a bit of stuff. We're probably going to miss something, but I'm going to try and get as much as I can as quickly as I can. So one of the first things I want to talk about is, I think it's in the settings here. I just want to look up. I believe pretty much all this is as is. Yep, it's pretty much the same. There was some changes into in regards to the game stability itself. So lots of bug fixes, little tiny ones here and there, and all that stuff. I won't get into it, but lots of fixes there. So what we're going to do is we're going to hop into a save game, or we're going to hop into a new game. Actually, I'm going to delete my test save here. Delete, and we're going to delete you as well. We're going to start a new game. So first thing you're going to notice, this pretty much the same, right? Really nothing changed here, but we're going to go to the difficulty options. You're already learning English for the first time today. You're going to notice a couple changes. One, a couple different options here. New one here, and boom, new button over here. So the first one here is Enable Comm Network. This is the ability for your probes, rovers, and things like that to act almost realistically. I say that to a point because you can still do some things to them, like control them in certain ways apparently, and stuff like that, which I haven't done yet. This is my first look, obviously. But apparently you can do kind of like a remote tech thing, where the further away you are from Kerbin, the weaker signals are. I kind of hope they add like the weaker the signal, the more delay there is when you tell it to do something. I hope, fingers crossed. For right now, though, what happens is that your signal degrades and degrades and degrades. Once it hits 0, pretty much you can only control, like deploy things like solar panels and things like that. You can only turn the engines on to max, basically on-off type thing. That's it. That's the comm network. We'll get into that a lot more detailed. It's a lot better. They've added some changes to allow reverting flights, quick loading, crew respawn. So if someone's quote unquote missing, basically they're dead, they'll respawn back in 2 hours. Auto hire crew members before flights, indestructible facilities, and stock vessels. For advanced, here's all the fun stuff. So first off, enable Kerbal experience. If this is turned on, you guys will slowly work their way up in experience. If it's off, they're just going to start with max experience no matter what. So say even if you start on easy science mode, for example, they'll still build up experience from what I've been told. Here, they're either going to level up immediately or once they've landed. So depending on how you want to play, like if they learn something new, well, then they learned something new, right? Resource transfer, so this is obviously the cross-feeding. You can turn that on and off. Damage multipliers for if something hits one of your buildings, and then part upgrades for sandbox mode. Next option here is the CommNet. Now this to me is the most exciting addition to 1.2. Communication networks for your probes, your rovers, and your shuttle, or for everything. As long as you're in a comm network, you can transfer now your science back as well. If I'm not mistaken, the weaker the signal, the more science you might lose as well, possibly. But there's range modifiers, occlusion modifiers, which are basically, atmospheric degradation and things like that. Extra ground stations, which is realistic if it's on. Off, it's going to be a lot like remote tech, where there's only one location that sends a signal to your anything, and that's Kerbal Space, the Kerbal Space Center. But I'd say more realistically, leave that on. And you can modify your range and stuff like that. We're really not going to do much. We're just oh, easy turns that all off, eh? Interesting. So easy turns that off. Well, we're going to go to normal first and then go to custom. Well, I want them to learn experience no matter what. And I want them to, pretty much if they learn something, they're going to learn it immediately. That's a lot easier. And extra stations and all that stuff. We're going to accept that. We're going to go sandbox mode because there's a couple new parts and things like that as well, which we're going to look at. And we're going to start up. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee here. So those of you who have played Kerbal Space Program often, this is obviously Kerbal Space Center. If you've never played it before, welcome to Kerbal Space Center. This is this is Kennedy Johnson in Florida, basically. This is Kerbal Space Program's version of Florida. You can build all of the things in your airplane hangar here. This is the vehicle assembly building where you build your rockets. You launch your rockets, obviously, from the launch pad. You can track your rockets, your probes, space stations, you name it, from the tracking station. Research and development, you can unlock things as you go for using science. Astronaut complex, this is where you get your astronauts. The administration building, I do not remember what the administration building is used for. And then obviously mission control, that's where you get your missions and stuff. But we're going to go into the VAB, the vehicle assembly building, and look at a few things and see what has been added. First thing I want to do is I'm just going to throw down that. So in the science thing, a couple things have been added. Well, number one, the surface scanning module. That's pretty exciting. Relay antennas. So there's 3 different relay antennas that you can use. I'm just going to turn clipping on here. So your stuff will actually... Well, actually, sorry, I'm just a little shocked. I love these things. If you want to set up communication networks, which you're going to have to when you actually want to do things properly, relay satellites are going to be a big deal. Antenna strength 5G versus L1 versus L2 versus L3. Packet size and bandwidth size. Whoa. Okay, so internet strength is crash tolerance, max temp, bandwidth versus L1 design versus L2 design versus L3 design. What is... A lot of these are... Whoa. Wow, I'm actually impressed with just all of this in general. High gain antenna. Obviously, this would be on your probes. Wow, I like this. This is actually very interesting. And obviously, this is new. This is, well, basically when you collect science, you can actually right-click on this and it collects all your science for you on your shuttle or your ship. Utilities. We got you before. Oh, fuel cell array. I have never seen that before. That looks interesting. Clampetron. Cargo bays. So if you want to launch your... Obviously these are for the shuttles and aircraft. I wonder if it's been a while since I've played this, so some of the stuff you may be looking at going, doy. The new wheels, they've updated these quite a bit. Aerodynamics. Structural, I don't know if they added any actual structural parts. I don't think they did. No, not really. Command and control. They did update the SAS, which is really good. Engines. Very nice. Fuel tanks. They've changed the way fuel... Actually, what we're going to do? We're going to go to new. We'll look for a stock... Your classic orbiter. Okay. Well, you know what? We'll try this anyways, and we'll get into the next stage, which is the new fuel mechanics. So, but the way the fuel works is there's two ways it can. If we go into settings, I believe. Oh, sorry, it was the crossfeed, the one I mentioned earlier. So what'll happen basically is in the old way the game was set up, and we're actually going to pin a couple of these so I can show you. So we're going to pin that one as well. We're going to pin this one. So, if with that old crossfeed turned off, you will notice as time progresses, everything, it goes basically to drain from the bottom up. Now, it actually drains from, whoa! So before we got destroyed, you would have, whoops, referred to launch on that one. You would have noticed that it actually drains. We're going to go to this one, and we're going to go to this one. So you know, so we can still do the training. We're going to turn SAS on this time. We're going to max our... There we go. So, first off, SAS now won't try to shake you as well as it used to. It doesn't do that as much anymore. It used to be able to shake the living shit out of your shuttle or your rocket when you first try to launch something. That's been fixed. You'll notice here that the top tank is now draining as well as the bottom tank, so you don't have to worry about your rocket flipping over because it doesn't drain from the top down anymore. It now drains equally from all your tanks properly. As long as that one option there that I mentioned earlier is turned on. Very important for you to do that. Let's slow down a little bit here. There we go. Wow, this thing's actually pretty efficient. We're going to start to tip a little bit here on purpose. I'm going to untab these and just kind of... There we go. I want to stay... Well, we're not quite on the 90 anymore. I want to turn a little bit just so I'm always... I always like to have the 90 to the right. It's just a lot easier. We're just going to turn a little bit. We did a little earlier than we're supposed to, but I'm not too worried about efficiencies and things like that. Let's get him to go to pro grade. We're going to lower that down a little bit. Oh, perfect. So, first thing you're going to see is this new green line. This new green line, that is your signal strength, which is right here. I love it. So this is something that I've been wanting for a while now. Perfect, perfect. 50. 53, 54. Bring this up. We're going to slow down a little bit. 60, 61, okay. Really low. Our fuel for this stage is almost done. Once that's done, we're just going to hit the button and go to the next one. You can also now set your interesting. I was told you could actually set your parachutes now to launch at it. There we go. We're just going to get some space. Click this real quick. Maneuver. Whoop. 63. 100 and something. 74 and 70. 70, 74. 71 and 70. Good enough. I want you to point towards the node, please. And we got a lot of shit to do here. 23 seconds, we're going to do the burn. Once we get in orbit, we're going to look at a few things and change up a few things. We're going to go... Oh, we got the... In music... In space music. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Max speed. Come on, come on, come on. Not the most efficient rocket, mind you, because we kind of tweaked things a little bit. Kind of went a little squirrely and wobbly. But we're going to get into orbit at least. We should have just enough power at the very end. We're in orbit. We have just enough fuel to basically degrade ourselves down into... or, what was it? What's our apogee and perigee here? Well, actually, we can close this out. So our apogee is 81 and our perigee is 38. So we're not going to space. But anyway, what are you going to do? So you'll see this green line here. So this is the new comm network. So you see a few things here. It says ComNet path, which is this here. Direction to... Oh, it's saying we actually have a direct connection, which is pretty good. And our signal strength, which is pretty good. Now, we don't have an antenna on this thing, but watch this. Crew port. Yeah, we'll keep it. And then we're going to transmit the data. What? Oh, because we don't have any technical data, because we don't collect science. Oh, okay, so we can actually change up that as well. Interesting. Now, somewhere in here, we should be able to change... I was told we could change a few things here. Such as the antenna, or whatever this is called, the parachute. We're supposed to be able to change... Oh, there's lights in there. Cool. Interesting. So, what I was told, and what I was explained to me was, the parachutes, you can actually decide yourself when it, like, tell it that it only, deploys when it's, basically, when it's safe. For some reason, it doesn't want to do that. Oh, no big deal. So, now, the next thing I wanted to mention. So, you know how that, you wanted to practice, you wanted to work things out. We're just going to revert flight to the vehicle assembly building. We're actually going to build ourselves something new altogether. We're going to build ourselves a quick little satellite. Nothing too crazy. Or, sorry, not a satellite, a rover. Because one of the things they mentioned was the redoing, or the redux of wheels. Wheels have been redone and tweaked and fixed. So, one of the things I always do is build a rover. So here is the rover I always build. I like how that kind of shows up. Let's get our wheels real quick here. Oh, fuck, can't remember where the fucking wheels are. Kind of wish they had rover wheels in one spot. Here we go. Whoa. Oh, way too big. Way too big. Rover Max, here we go. So we're going to go times 2. Actually, what I want to do is turn this over. Okay, then put one here in the corner. I'm going to put over there as well. Because that's it for tires. I'm going to grab these ones and there we go. And then we're going to grab this one. We're going to line them up pretty much with the top, actually. go. Gonna now grab this and roll it over. So that is our rover. Usually what I'll do then is I'll put this inside a couple certain things, but we're not going to do that. Yeah, that's good. Wow, this thing's huge. So this has been rescaled quite a bit. This used to be like tiny. Like really tiny. I should be that. Wow. Okay. Oh, you put them in hibernation. Perfect. Save yourself energy and stuff. We're just gonna launch here. So before, you used to be able to easily, and I mean easily. Oh, look at that! Wow, the wheels work a lot better. But I don't have that much power left. Yeah. So before, this thing would not be able to do half the stuff it's doing right now. It feels a little bit more controllable. They don't look like they're being overpowered too much. Wow. I like it. I mean, it's crazy fast, but let's... Whee! Let's revert. Now let's go to Space Hangar. So what we're going to do now, we're actually going to leave and we're going to go to the VAB. We're going to build ourselves up a satellite and talk about the next part, the debug menu. So the debug menu is obviously the part where you can, well, cheat basically. So we're just going to build ourselves really quickly a probe. There we go. So your classic probe you're going to get, I'm going to tell you now, that you're probably going to end up building just from looking at all this stuff is probably, whoa, a ComSat, which is fucking huge. There we go. Let's throw some antennas, or not antennas, solar panels, 3x2s, 1x6s. I want at least 3, 6, 7, 8 of these things. 4, 6. That's 8. That's way too much. These things are way too big. Let's try... You know what? Let's get a... Like I said, brand new look. I have not played this in a very, very long time. I want this thing to be a lot bigger. This one? Ah, this one's a lot bigger. Perfect. Okay. Ah, that's exactly what I wanted. Except everything's kind of... Because this is a 6 now. There we go. Perfect. Okay. We're going to put that on there. That looks good. What I'm going to do is set up action groups. Because in group 1, all these things are going to extend. I'm also going to throw some batteries on here. Boom. And boom. And we are going to get to the next part of the, well, the game itself. Now, this might turn off my, let's open all these up. Perfect. So, what you need when you create a satellite in orbit, or when you're trying to put satellites in orbit, well, space station, as long as you have people on it, you're good. Or even just the parts, right? You want to at least have some sort of AI module on them to kind of keep them stable, right? Probes, rovers, you need some sort of communication network, something that's got, you know, something built around it. Now, there is a new system in place. Or that is the new system in place, sorry, but we're going to cheat something. So we're going to set an orbit. So back in the day, you used to be able to use things, I think it was Hyper Edit, And they did this. So you can set up your orbit, inclination, declination, all that stuff. Set up all your angles and stuff like that. All you got to do now is hit a simple button. You set up your orbit. Rendezvous. Oh, interesting. No. So I'm assuming this is... Whoa. Okay, that's a little too far. There we go. So we're at 600... What are we at here? So, we're at 86. I don't know what that extra number at the front is for. But I think we can change the angle. Change this to 90 and see what happens. So that's a 90-degree orbit. Eccentricity is probably left to right. That's pretty cool. Change that back down to 0. So basically, hex edit. You can do it. You can throw objects around, change your difficulty, tweak your physics. I believe there is an option in here. You can change your gravity. So you can increase gravity, decrease gravity. So if you're going to launch something, there you go. This is the classic cheat menu, I guess you can say. It's technically the debug menu. But you can change all your stuff, ignore temperatures, no crash damage, unbreakable joints, gravity, etc., etc., etc. And this is where you can do all these different things. So this is the pre-look, yet again, at Kerbal Space Program 1.2. In the next couple episodes, starting tomorrow, we're actually going to be doing a Let's Play. Now, mind you, it may change. We may have to stop and redo it again, mainly due to the fact that that 1.2 is constantly changing. It still isn't out yet, but overall, I'm very, very excited. So many different options, so many things we're going to try. I'm looking forward to it. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.